All right, let's talk about a weird little glitch in our brains. It's a thinking error that gets all of us, from what we decide to watch on a Friday night to huge multi-million-dollar business deals. It's called the sunk cost fallacy. And trust me, once you understand this thing, it's like gaining a superpower. So let's dive in.
So let me just ask you this. Have you ever found yourself pushing forward with something? Even when you had that little voice in the back of your head, that gut feeling screaming that this was just a total dead end?
Yeah, you couldn't walk away. Not because you thought it was going to work out, but because you'd already poured in so much time, so much money, so much of yourself. Well, that feeling, it has a name. So let's actually define this. Let's put a real name to that feeling and get super clear on what we're talking about. What in the world is the sunk cost fallacy?
So here's the deal. It's basically a mental trap. Our brains, for whatever reason, get totally obsessed with what we've already put in. The money, the time, the effort, all that stuff is gone. Poof, it's in the past. And because we're so fixated on that, we stop thinking logically about what the best move is from right here, right now. The easiest way to think about it is right in the name. It's sunk, like a shipwreck at the bottom of the ocean. It's the money that's already out of your bank account, the hours you've already worked. You cannot get it back no matter what you decide to do next.
And look, this isn't some high-level economic theory. The sunk cost fallacy pops up everywhere, all the time. Let's walk through a few examples that I guarantee you will find painfully familiar. Okay, let's start with a classic. You bought that expensive movie ticket. You've got your popcorn, you settle into your seat, and maybe, I don't know, 20 minutes in, you realize this movie is awful. Like truly, objectively terrible. What do? Let's be honest, most of us stick it out. We tell ourselves, well, I paid for it, so I'm going to get my money's worth. But that's the fallacy in action. The money is gone. It was gone the second you bought the ticket. By staying, you're not getting your money back, you're just throwing good money, or in this case, good time, after bad. Okay, let's go a little deeper, a little more personal. This exact same logic is one of the biggest reasons people stay in relationships that just aren't working anymore. I mean, how many times have you heard someone say, but we've been together for 5 years? Or I've put so much work into this relationship. See, it's the same trap. Our brain frames leaving as throwing away all that past investment. But staying doesn't make those past 5 years any better. It just guarantees you're going to spend more time being unhappy in the future.
And this isn't just about our personal lives. This happens constantly in the business world, and the stakes can be enormous. Let's think about a big work project.
So a company sinks millions of dollars into some new project. But pretty soon it's clear it's a dud. The deadlines are slipping, the results are terrible, the market isn't responding. But does the company cut its losses? So often the answer is no. They keep pouring more money in, not because they believe it's going to turn around, but because they can't stand the thought of admitting that initial investment was a waste. It's how a bad idea becomes a catastrophe. So you're probably wondering, if this is so obviously illogical, why does literally everyone do it? What is going on inside our heads that makes us so vulnerable to this? Let's get into the psychology of it. This right here is the whole battle. On one side, you've got our emotional brain. It's driven by something called loss aversion. And what that means is that we feel the pain of a loss about twice as strongly as the pleasure of an equal gain. It's crazy, right? So quitting feels like this huge, painful failure. Our ego can't stand admitting we made a bad call. But on the other side, you have the wise path, the logical brain. And it's asking the only question that actually matters. Okay, based on everything I know right now, what's the smartest move going forward? Make no mistake, this isn't just some harmless mental quirk. Falling into the sunk cost trap over and over again has real serious consequences. You see, the longer you stay in the bad relationship, at the bad job, with the bad project, the more you invest. And of course, the more you invest, the harder it feels to walk away. It creates this terrible feedback loop that just keeps you stuck. It stops you from adapting, from learning from your mistakes, and it turns what could have been a small loss into a massive one. Okay, but here's the good news. It's not hopeless. You can absolutely learn to recognize this trap and fight back. You don't have to be a victim of your own brain's wiring. So let's talk about the toolkit, the practical steps you can take to break free. Here's your 4-step playbook. Number 1, you have to consciously ignore the past. Literally say to yourself, the money I spent is gone. It's irrelevant to this decision. 2, focus only on the future. What are the potential costs and benefits from this day forward? That's it. That's all that matters. 3, and this one is a game changer. Set your exit criteria early on. Before you even start a big project, decide, if X, Y, and Z happen, I'm pulling the plug. Make the decision when you're objective, not when you're emotional. And finally, number 4, change how you think about quitting. It is not failure. It's choosing a better path based on new information. It's a win. Seriously, if you remember nothing else from this, remember this one question. This is like your magic key to unlock the sunk cost trap. Asking yourself this simple question: if I weren't already invested, would I get into this today? It just cuts through all the emotional baggage and forces you to see the situation for what it is, right now. We're raised on this idea that quitters never win, that you just have to grind and persevere no matter what. And look, sometimes that's true, but the sunk cost fallacy tricks us into thinking it's always true. Real wisdom isn't just about knowing when to keep going, it's about knowing when it's time to stop, cut your losses, and move on. Sometimes stopping is the single smartest, most strategic thing you can do. So I'm going to leave you with that question to chew on. Think about your own life right now, your job, your projects, your habits. What are you holding on to, not because it's bringing you joy or value for the future, but simply because you've already invested so much in the past? Now that you know about this trap, what are you ready to quit?